Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, June 25th, and we're here for some more Boredom Busters talking about pets still. We've done cats and dogs and reptiles, so today is all about fish. We're going to do a science experiment and a fun craft, of course. And on our parent guide, we have a nice pop and bubbles physical activity to get you and your kiddos moving. So, what is the most musical part of a fish, Ashley?
I don't know. What is it?
The scales. Now, many of you do take music lessons. I'm a music teacher myself, actually, so I can tell you the scales are the most important part, and practicing them I know is no fun, but if you do it now, you'll save yourself a lot of headaches later. So keep that in mind. All right, so I'll go over the printables here. So we do have our fishbowl frenzy, a fun activity of counting the fish, looking to see which fish are swimming to the left, your left, right, and which ones are swimming to the right. Our book, I think one of everybody's favorites, The Rainbow Fish. Our song, Fish Song, of course. And then a video about how do fish breathe. And then you could probably talk about, what about mermaids? How do they breathe? What do they do? We've been watching a lot of The Little Mermaid in our house recently. On our parent guide, we'll have the explanation for our activities today. I'll put that up here as a reference for me. And then one of our supplements, a template for the fish. So let's go on up and we'll do this activity first. Oh, I just realized I did forget one element, but we can modify that. All right, so for our rainbow fish activity here, some aluminum foil is really fun. Now we have some templates here for you, or you can free draw. And I'll just kind of show you. So the foil is really fun to draw with. So I'm just going to kind of quickly draw a little fish here. Remember, I am not the artist, as I said. I'm a music teacher on the side, so let's do a little happy face so we know what's going on here. And then I do have some paint here, so you can kind of see the fish. So you draw it out, trace it. If you print this on something heavy, you can do tracing. Of course, having that template is nice. It teaches another skill for your kids. Get some paint going. Painting on the foil is just so, I kind of like the sound it makes. Some of our friends may not appreciate the extra senses of that sound. So a bunch of different colors. And then I'm gonna just mix my blue and my green here. Of course, if you have it cut out already, you'll just have something on top that you're painting over top of. All right, so then you're supposed to use a Q-tip. A couple of these, I forgot to grab some here before we went live, so I'm just gonna use the back of my paintbrush. But if you use the the Q-tip, you can see how even with the paintbrush, you're scraping away the paint, and we're doing some little scales. So you can kind of do a bunch. If you're using the Q-tip, you will want to use a few different ones because the cotton will absorb the paint. So you can see how the silver, the foil will shine through, and it's a fun way to make an extra little pattern in your rainbow fish when you're using the foil as your background. It's a great thing to do, especially too if you do use aluminum foil a decent amount in your house and you have scrap pieces if it's never quite the right size. So of course we're doing this with a fish, but you can get creative, paint what you want, and just keep that foil on hand for a future fun rainy day craft activity. Okay, our science experiment today. If you're like me, sometimes you end up keeping a lot of ketchup packets. I think I have about 50 of these inside the glove compartment of the minivan. So maybe go out, grab a few of those. And hot glue. So this step is going to be a adult activity, and we're doing a diving fish activity. So as that hot glue is heating up, you'll want an empty water bottle, and you'll clean it off. So on our supply list, we do have the bottle, some vegetable oil. So the vegetable oil is just if you want to it helps you clean off all that stickiness. So you can kind of rub it down and dry it off. You do want to be able to see through the bottle. So you're going to fill the bottle all the way to the top with water. All the way, like it's overflowing, as high up as you can go. This was my mistake when I was testing this out just a few minutes ago. With that ketchup packet, now we are going to just kind of emulate a little fish here, and we're talking about why fish, how they swim, and why do we float and sink when we're in water. So to kind of make your ketchup packet a little bit like a fish, if you have different colored Sharpies, that's a really fun way to do it too, to get started. I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue in the corners here. And fold it on over. making the little mouth here. So now we've got the little point. And then I'm gonna squeeze it. I'm gonna wrap this part back a little bit. So we kind of make a little, almost like a little waistline for our fish. So I'm gonna put just some hot glue kind of here in the back, on the edges. Okay. Of course, hot glue does dry pretty quick, so if you do have those different colored Sharpies, you can color your fish different colors. Of course, the red is going to color up all that branding and those ingredients on the back. And of course, a little happy face and that mouth, maybe a little fin. Do a little kind of tail decoration in the back too. There's my little fish. All right. So, as after that, so sorry, I misspoke. So you want to put the ketchup packet in first, your little fish, and then fill it all the way to the top with water. My mistake. Ketchup packet in first, fill all the way to the top with water. It doesn't need to be a bottle. You can squeeze pretty good. So like Gatorade bottles, that kind of thing is going to be a little too firm. And as you kind of get a really good grip on it, squeeze, that ketchup bottle is floating down to the bottom. That ketchup bottle, the ketchup packet, our pretend fish. So inside the ketchup packet and inside the water, there are some air pockets. Now the air is lighter than water. So as the water, that's why we float, because the air is lighter than water, so it's up to the top. But when we squeeze the bottle, the air bubble is compressed into that smaller space, and it causes the air compresses easier than the water, and so that's what helps it float down. You can see some hot glue streams I've got still in there, so really good squeeze. There you go. Now, some troubleshooting, it may not work the first time, so I would have a couple ketchup packets ready. Be careful on how much hot glue you use, because that does affect it. If, when you fill it with water, it sinks right away, then it is too heavy with that hot glue. So I would go ahead and start again. But a fun way to look at how we float and sink. I could actually do this. This is a nice stress reliever. I might keep this on my desk now for in between Zoom calls and things during the rest of this time. So thanks so much for joining us today for our Boredom Busters All About Fish, and we will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.